Hello friends, hope you're all doing well. You're watching Space Extreme. Today we're gonna start with an update where SpaceX had already begun the test campaign of fully stacked Starship. So let's get into it. Only 2 weeks back SpaceX teams had stacked the Ship 24 atop Booster 7 for the first time, making it the first ever stack of the duo and fourth full stack in overall. But later Ship 24 was destacked due to strong windy conditions in Boca Chica. Almost a week later, on the 20th of October, the duo was stacked again and waited on the launch mount for the beginning of the test campaign. And finally, after more than 7 months, SpaceX has just kicked off the most ambitious round of tests for its fully stacked launch system for the first time ahead of its debut orbital launch attempt planned for the later part of the year. On the 24th of August, Monday, SpaceX teams began the test campaign with carrying out a full Cryo-proof test of the duo. Musk had earlier stated that Ship 24 and Booster 7 will go for full wet dress rehearsal after both the ship and booster were stacked. But it seems that SpaceX engineers want to check out the sturdiness of the Booster 7 with a fully loaded ship atop, therefore they've gone for the Cryo-proof test first before going for the wet dress rehearsal. Last Monday, SpaceX had a road closure scheduled from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. According to reports, on Monday at around 4:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time, SpaceX started filling liquid oxygen into Booster 7 for full stack cryo-proofing. After some time, SpaceX teams also loaded Ship 24 with the cryogenic fluid. Later on the next day, more cryo testing with the full stacked Starship was carried out. Though some sources state that the Cryo-proof test was a partial one, it is clear that SpaceX had carried out the test on both Booster 7 and Ship 24 as the duo developed a frost line around it during the test. In outward appearance, the test seemed successful. Some reports state that other than having mechanical stress check, this Cryo test was an advanced mechanical demonstration to ensure that whether all the systems required to fuel fully stacked Starship on top of Super Heavy were working as expected or not. According to some sources, SpaceX may go for another Cryo test if they feel that the recent was not up to the mark. But if they found this single Cryo test sufficient for going into next step, then possibly they will directly head for the wet dress rehearsal test. Report says that Starbase is now receiving fuel deliveries more frequently, indicating that the upcoming WDR test is not very far. But still it seems that SpaceX may have faced a little issue during detanking of the stacked Starship after Cryo test. Zach Golden, a SpaceX fan and observer, tweeted that, "Hey Starship addicts, it appears there may have been an issue with fully detanking Ship 24 last night. Every Cryo tanker that showed up to offload after the Cryo test was turned away, and there are now 8 of them waiting by the road block. It is possible that due to this issue SpaceX have cancelled the Tuesday road closure, as well left out both Wednesday and Thursday road closure too. As for now, SpaceX have another road closure scheduled on the 28th of October, Friday, between 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So hopefully they may go for the next step of their test campaign on today's closure." According to some reports, the workers at SpaceX had already added some new shielding to the legs of the orbital launch mount. It is expected that this shielding work is to protect the launch mount from the massive blast of Booster 7 Raptor engines during upcoming static fire test, which will come up after WDR tests. Though Ship 25 and Booster 8 are ready for tests, it is expected that SpaceX will stick to Ship 24 and B7 for orbital launch till they fails. Even Musk had confirmed the fact. Marcus House, a YouTuber and SpaceX fan, wrote, "To Musk, still planning on B7, S24 being the first to launch? Impressive seeing S25 looking so good already. It is truly astounding seeing S24, 25 and B7, 8 all at the launch site together." Musk had replied that, "That's the plan, unless it is damaged in testing. What really matters is that ship and booster production line is spooling up. Also, each new ship and booster has incremental design improvements." While SpaceX is progressing with rapid strides in Starbase, they are also gearing up Falcon Heavy for launch in Florida. And recently they've rolled out Falcon Heavy rocket from the integration facility. Let's look at the next update regarding Falcon Heavy rocket, which passes its static fire test after 3 years of development. Prior to the static fire, it was reported that the USSF-44 mission, which was scheduled to launch on October 28 or October 31, had been moved to no earlier than Tuesday, November 1. This was Falcon Heavy's first launch in 40 months. With 4 launches since February 2018, USSF-44 will be the 4th for Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy, the most powerful rocket currently in use, appeared to ignite all 27 of its Merlin 1D engines during a 10-second static fire on October 27. This could have produced up to 2,350 tons, 5.18 million pounds of thrust. At sea level, only 3 liquid-powered rockets and 2 rockets with solid rocket boosters have produced more thrust, and the last of those 5 vehicles, NASA's Space Shuttle, was permanently decommissioned in 2011. When it, hopefully, makes its debut later this year, NASA's Space Launch System, SLS, rocket will reclaim the title, but Falcon Heavy will continue to hold the title of most potent commercial rocket until SpaceX's own Starship makes its appearance. SpaceX appeared to encounter minor difficulties when preparing Falcon Heavy for a full wet dress rehearsal and static burn after more than 3 years of rest. The launch date had already moved to October 31 when SpaceX hauled the rocket to the launch pad in the late evening of October 25. The Falcon Heavy rocket then sat horizontally for roughly 30 hours before SpaceX hoisted it vertically and securely fastened the rocket and transporter erector to the pad's ground infrastructure. Falcon Heavy fired up at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on October 27, 50 hours after it was first rolled out. In April 2019, when Falcon Heavy Block 5 was getting ready for its first flight, the second overall, the rocket reached verticality 12 hours after rollout, which was 18 hours quicker than Flight 4. Before Flight 3 in June 2019, Falcon Heavy successfully finished a static fire test 25 hours after rolling out, which was 25 hours quicker than Flight 4. Prior to launch, Falcon Heavy will need to return to LC-39A's hangar to have its fairing, which contains 2 classified USSF-44 satellites, installed. It will then need to repeat the rollout procedure on the launch pad. SpaceX will need to break that record in order to launch USSF-44 as scheduled because Falcon Heavy's modified launch goal is 4 days and 14 hours following its static burn. Nevertheless, given that Falcon Heavy has successfully conducted a static fire, its 4th launch is almost certainly going to take place within the next 5 to 10 days. The 5th launch of the rocket, which will carry Viasat's first Viasat-3 communications satellite, could occur as early as December 2022. For additional Falcon Heavy launches are currently scheduled for January through August 2023. If the news updates were useful to you, please consider liking the video and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for daily SpaceX and space news.